What's your drug of choice? Well, this old-timer was just given fentanyl for a colonoscopy and I learned I must have a high tolerance for that shit because I was in pain halfway through and they had to double it. They told me you'll be awake but you won't care what's happening. I did care what was happening, lol. I must have some natural immunity to getting super high on that stuff. My drugs of choice are beer and coffee with the occasional runner's high. I'm old-fashioned that way. If I want to get really high I have a beer or two after a run. The best 2 beers you will ever have. Fentanyl, been on it for most of my adult life, 5 years, OD'd probably around 15-20 times and been legally dead twice. I'm taking methadone and trying to quit now because it's a monster and once you start shooting dope up you sign your soul away. I once had 50 grand that I blew through in under a month. I hate how I feel when I'm sick and I hate the effects it has on my life, but it's really hard to imagine a life where I'm happy without that feeling. I wish I never tried it. My drug of choice is marijuana, flower specifically. My drugs of necessity are bupropion, Wellbutrin, clonazepam, and S-zopiclone Cymbalta. I'm weaning my way off the S-zopiclone because it and the Klonopin were prescribed when I had long COVID and suffered severe anxiety and could only sleep 3 hours a night. I want to be off of sleep meds entirely by the end of the year, but I'm being very careful about tapering off. I've withdrawn abruptly from medically required benzos a couple of times and it was not a pleasant experience. At all. Fentanyl, been on it for most of my adult life, 5 years, OD'd probably around 15-20 times and been legally dead twice. I'm taking methadone and trying to quit now because it's a monster and once you start shooting dope up you sign your soul away. I once had 50 grand that I blew through in under a month. I hate how I feel when I'm sick and I hate the effects it has on my life, but it's really hard to imagine a life where I'm happy without that feeling. I wish I never tried it. Weed is enough, and always has been. But more and more lately I think I want to try microdosing mushrooms. I just don't know where to start or how to get it. My needs are medicinal, in the sense that they allow me to tolerate my daily life. Buspirone is really good too, but Buspiro and weed gets a little methy feeling and I'm not trying to go there. So basically I take my prescribed antidepressant blend during the work week and weed on the weekends and holidays. Cannabis has been a constant. On the side in chronological order, I loved LSD and mushrooms. After I was mostly done with that it was ecstasy, after that it was coke and morphine, then it was just morphine for several years but I kicked that 2 years ago and now it's whiskey. But always cannabis throughout it all. It actually kept me from ever falling too far off the deep end with the other stuff. Fuck, this comment doesn't look good, lol. Opiates. Easily the most enjoyable high for me. Although I don't partake anymore, prescription painkillers and H-worm IDOC. I actually stopped doing all other substances when I discovered oxys. Now 5 years sober, I never smoke weed, done coke a handful of times, have alcohol maybe 2-3 a month, and drink coffee only on special occasions like a cappuccino after a nice dinner or espresso in a high-end coffee shop. Laughter? I have found no greater sanctity than hearing and seeing the genuine smiles and laughter of the people I value, and I'm around people who indulge in drugs and alcohol a lot and like their life depends on it. But now it does. A close friend of mine has lost a kidney. I said was because I don't think they would like me to call them that anymore. They're 18, for love of God. I smoke weed every day and can't remember the last day I didn't. I don't really enjoy it nowadays, but it's like cigarettes for me because I work from home. I've taken cocaine 2-3 times and I've been in fights or got really angry every single time. I won't touch it now. I don't have a naturally aggressive or nasty personality, so it really doesn't suit me. What actually I use most often? Weed. What I wish I could use, consequence-free, most often cocaine. But alas, there's a fentanyl in the drug supply crisis where I live, and even if accidental odd wasn't a risk, I like having a healthy sleep schedule, not having a congested and tore up nose, and not feeling empty inside on the calm down. MDMA. Guessing it's not very common since I scrolled quite a bit without seeing it. It's a drug of pure love. The sex is absolutely mind-blowing, like nothing you will ever experience. In fact, just a hug from a loved one is just bliss. Do it 3-4 times a year religiously, will probably do it the rest of my life. Don't see a reason not to. Honestly, weed, caffeine, and sugar, but I'm working on the sugar right now. Colorado is planning to legalize and decriminalize most psychedelics in like 2024, so growing shrooms is gonna be next to try. Also, California is starting a decriminalization and large study of psychedelics with SB 58, so there's that too. Used to be weed, but it makes me paranoid and insecure if I have more than a few tokies now. Alcohol mostly, cocaine on occasion. MDMA for special occasions if me and my girlfriend go out for an occasion and get a hotel afterwards. We like balloons and nitrous too. She loves psychedelics, I hate them. Used to be weed before it would give me anxiety and panic half the time. I drink way more now that I smoke less. I also like to roll a couple times a year and play some games or listen to music at home now. Used to like to do it when out, but that's not as fun anymore for me now. Weed, however, I stopped smoking while I'm pregnant and my son is now almost 2 and I still only smoke when he's down for the count at night. I just don't feel completely comfortable yet taking care of him while smoking since my tolerance is, literally, lower than hell. Pot because I think it causes me to remember how much I hate it and how much time I've lost to it. Something about the paranoia is intoxicating. It's like my life becomes a drama in my mind. And I can only do that shit solo. I defed weak. I drank alcohol when I was 15 years old once, now I'm 26, never tried any other drugs. For some reason I feel like it would do some real bad stuff with really me making me have no fear of doing stuff. Weed in the evening on work nights, alcohol on one of the 2 weekend nights and some weed at bedtime on weekends. Cocaine used to be in there on the alcohol nights but that's over now. Bupropion and duloxetine. They keep me functioning. Once I no longer need them I'll happily go back to alcohol being my drug of choice, though I've never been a big drinker. Molly and lower doses of psychedelics in between rolls. I like how these substances make life look like a beautiful movie. Sparkles, also have an on and off relationship with weed. Weed for sure. Helps with sleep, acid reflux, back pain, headaches, appetite. It gives me relief from all my recurrent physical struggles with no unwanted side effects. THC, mushrooms, alcohol. Used to be cocaine pre-fentanyl and when I was in my 20s. Quit at the moment people started dying from bad shit. Don't miss it one bit. People don't do drugs, drugs do people. Drugs don't lose their jobs, home, do. The only thing drugs lose is its host body in the event of death. I prefer weed. I get a hangover from alcohol before it starts to get funny. I don't smoke weed unless it's about before I go to bed and not every day. Weed's the bread and butter. But cocaine if we're talking a special treat. More for a festival or club sort of thing where you can't do lines easily. Alcohol. People always bash alcohol and I know it's not good for you and it affects everyone different but I like it, it helps relax me and shit. Sometimes I get flashbacks of when I used to do ecstasy when I was in my teens. I'm older now but wouldn't mind giving that one another go. Vicodin. But I have to support myself and do adult stuff so it's weed for me, really always has been. But I used to love to abuse pills. Pizotafin. I'm so lucky to have a drug which can prevent the effects of one of my disabilities on only double the normal maximum dose. Anyone who doesn't say heroin has never used heroin. It's a terrible drug but the feeling is unexplainably miraculous. Desire. Knowing that a woman wants to fuck me gives me more of a dopamine hit than the actual act itself. I have been smoking weed every day since 2010. Never done any hard drugs, no desire. I rarely drink too. LSD I took like 3 tabs when I was 12 and lived to tell the tale, somehow not addicted to any drugs. Methadone is number 1, all opiates opioids after that, then LSD second after all of those. Chocolate chip cookies, although I have been known to try out a good peanut butter cookie. Love me some quetiapine. A good night's rest and less chase of psychosis? Sig me up. Alcohol and weed. Always wanted to try peyote though. Heard it's a hell of a time. Depends on the vibe. Chilling, weed, feeling lively, coke, stressed, Xanax, Valium. Weed for sure but cocaine and meth are my go-to drugs if I had the time to do them. Trying to stop, it's really hard though and using is negatively impacting my life. Is sex a drug? Lol, if so, sex relieves so much on the mind and body for me. When I was younger, Vyvanse. Now, just weed and alcohol, but mostly weed. Nicotine, alcohol, THC and sometimes I throw in a little cocaine or shrooms. Ignorance. Unfortunately I'm only slightly too intelligent to enjoy that. My daily driver is weed, but psychedelics, any of them are my favorite. Hard work and perseverance. Kidding, it's weed. Yummy yummy weed. Literally just weed. It helps me avoid treating my life's problems. Weed and alcohol. Got so faded at a grad party I passed out. Twice. What's my drug of choice? Well, what have you got? Lane Staley. Amphetamine, every fucking day. It's coke, but better and cheaper. Dopamine. Making jokes help and yes I laugh at some of my jokes. Start my day up with some caffeine and stay high on herb all day. A positive attitude, haha, no I'm just kidding, it's Adderall. Alcohol, mostly, sometimes weed, Occasionally Xanax for sleep, the perfect drug. The perfect drug, the perfect drug. In the past it was heroin, Xanax, spice, and methamphetamine, weed. Used to do coke but last time I had a panic attack, coffee. Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to make some pure millennial dread. I chase that dragon every day.